Check 1, 2, 3. Mic check.
Streaming on clickorlando.com, you're watching News 6 at 10 p.m.
Now on News 6, Hurricane Erin is turning away, but that doesn't mean its impacts are over. How our beaches are faring with the rough surf.
Some wild new video shows a local man clinging to the hood of a car as his wife floors it. We talked to the woman who shot the video.
She actually slammed into the car that was in front of me. And then when she reversed, he jumped back on the hood.
What led to this wild video and the charges the wife is now facing?
And it doesn't take trouble in the tropics for many neighborhoods to flood. One reason, clogged storm drains. Why it's a big problem in one part of Orange County and what's getting results.
Hundreds of people are impacted by this and they probably have no idea.
Probably have no idea.
A woman's condo blacklisted, making it really hard to sell. I found out how it ended up getting on the wrong side of the federal agency, and your condo could be next.
But we start all new at 10 tonight with shots fired in a dispute over dog waste.
I think it's a little ridiculous that something that minor can cause an outburst like that, for sure.
No, yeah, absolutely. It's something that just, it's very Florida, I guess. That's the only thing that you can really say.
What detectives say set a man off and how it turned from yelling to a struggle to shots fired. The gunman's lawyer says it's a case of stand your ground. Thank you for joining us. I'm Ginger Gadsden.
I'm Matt Austin. Orlando police say it unfolded last night inside the Deborah Metro West apartments near the Turnpike and South Kirkman Road. News 6's Orlando community correspondent Troy Campbell is outside the Orange County Jail with more.
The 51-year-old suspect was taken here to the Orange County Jail on several charges. We spoke to residents who say they heard that gunfire on Tuesday evening.
I looked at him because I was like, was that a gunshot?
Stephanie Angelone and Alexander Pagan say they were inside their apartment at the Deborah Metro West on Tuesday night just after 10 p.m. when they say they heard gunfire outside of their window. Take me to the moment where you heard a noise.
So we were just eating food, right? We were eating food and we hear this loud bang. And she's like, was that a gunshot?
Orlando police say when their officers arrived, the victim told them he was walking his dog inside the complex when 51-year-old Cristiano Lamana began yelling at him from his balcony to pick up after his dog. However, investigators say the two began to argue, and that's when Lamana grabbed a pistol before coming outside to the staircase. The report says that's when the victim said, "Are you going to shoot me?" and says Lamana pointed the gun at his face and shot a single round close to his ear. Describe what the scene looked like.
I see probably 4 cop cars right over here along this side. And it looks like they already have a guy, I'm assuming the perpetrator.
There was an actual discharge, supposedly over the victim and his dog and not picking up the dog's waste.
Lamana went before a judge on Wednesday, charged with discharging a firearm on residential property and aggravated assault with the firearm.
My client's never been charged with a crime before. This is the first incident he's ever had with law enforcement or anything like that. He has ties to the community.
His attorney says they plan to argue stand your ground.
This was an incident. My client was on his own property. He was on the second floor of his apartment. It was a stand your ground situation, and a motion will be forthcoming.
First few nights here that's happening.
It's like our second night here.
It's really crazy, especially for something that's so minuscule, like something that really shouldn't even affect us like that.
New to the complex, Angelone and Pagan say the situation did not need to escalate.
I think it's a little ridiculous that something that minor can cause an outburst like that, for sure.
No, yeah, absolutely. It's something that just, it's very Florida, I guess. That's the only thing that you can really say.
And several residents tell us they're now hopeful this doesn't happen again. According to jail records, Lamana is being held on a $5,100 bond. I'm your Orlando community correspondent, Troy Campbell, News 6.
Another big story tonight. We're tracking Hurricane Erin. We're getting a new look from NOAA at just how impressive this thing is. The eye of Hurricane Erin. This is late this afternoon.
Yeah, the good news, the storm is turning away from shore, but we are still feeling some impacts at the beach. But let's start with meteorologist Jonathan Kekes.
So, Jonathan, Erin appears to be moving just the way you said it would.
Yeah, right on through the uprights, if you will, between Bermuda and the Outer Banks, so about 500 miles safely to the east of the state of Florida. Certainly because it's so big and powerful, it's sending the bigger waves back to us. We had wave heights today at about 8 to 10 feet crashing across part of the Florida beaches today, across part of the state of Florida. But you see here, huge storm. There is Bermuda for reference. There are the Outer Banks. And again, the core of the storm anyway is going to pass safely through really between the middle of Bermuda and the Outer Banks. Rip current risks are going to stay high really through the weekend across Florida beaches. The wave heights are going to gradually come down. I want to show you this for perspective. We're watching for the potential for a little bit of coastal flooding due to the high tide, plus Hurricane Erin pushing some of the water back. We made it through the highest point, the highest high tide of this cycle here. That came earlier this evening. Now we're heading back to low tide. High tide tomorrow should not be as high as what we had this evening, so some better news there. And again, the wave heights are going to gradually subside. Rip currents stay high through the weekend. We'll talk much more about that and increasing rain chances for your weekend coming up at about 10:19.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Well, even though Hurricane Erin is set to stay well offshore, North Carolina is under a state of emergency. Parts of the Outer Banks evacuated ahead of waves up to 20 feet expected. Some roads are flooding during the high tides, and rescuers saved more swimmers today from rip currents at Wrightsville Beach. In our area, you can really see the impact of Erin on the Volusia County coastline. You can see the chop and the waves churning up. Hidden underneath are strong rip currents. In Volusia, waves expected to hit 6 to 8 feet in several locations. In Brevard, there are even some 10-foot surf reports near the Cape. Those waves attract the surf lovers, but beach safety has a warning.
These hurricanes come, and thankfully they don't hit us. They bring these giant waves.
If you're a novice swimmer, now is not the time to learn how to surf.
Volusia County says the berms and new dunes with vegetation they've added are working to protect the beaches from erosion. Some conservation poles part of washed away as parts of the beaches were closed.
Breaking now at 10 tonight, a husband and wife are now under arrest in connection with a deadly hit-and-run crash that killed a bicyclist over the weekend. FHP says 37-year-old Christopher Canea of Castleberry was behind the wheel and is accused of leaving the scene of a deadly crash. His wife, 39-year-old Belkis Rodriguez, faces similar charges. We first told you Sunday night deputies found the white BMW SUV believed to have left the scene. The crash happened Saturday night along 1792 in Fern Park, right where the 441 meets the road between Winter Park and Castleberry. Troopers say the bicyclist was riding in a designated bike lane when he was hit. We don't know yet the name of the 25-year-old from Winter Springs.
We're still waiting to learn more about a teen shot in West Orange County. The wounded 16-year-old was found around 4 this afternoon near the corner of Wendy Drive and North Lane in the Pine Hills area. It happened right across the street from Meadowbrook Middle School. He was taken to the hospital. We're waiting to learn more about how he's doing. Meanwhile, a little boy is in the hospital after being caught in the crossfire of a shootout in the Apopka area. Deputies say 2 people were shooting at each other in the Rock Springs Mobile Home Park near East Vigil Street. After the 4-year-old was wounded, he was taken to a restaurant about 2 miles away on North Park Avenue by someone looking for help. Investigators have not said if they have any suspects, but they appear to be focusing their attention on a white SUV.
New at 10 tonight, Republican lawmakers in Texas have pushed a controversial new redistricting map through the House. It now goes to the state Senate. Texas Democrat lawmakers left the state trying to disrupt the plan that will likely put 5 more Republicans in Congress and take away 5 Democrats. California is vowing to redraw its map to send 5 more Democrats to Congress. Now, tonight, Governor DeSantis says he is open to Florida taking another look at its congressional maps. Speaking in Palm Beach County, he said the state was robbed of at least 1 additional seat in the House by an undercount in the U.S. Census. He is calling on the president to look at a do-over of the census, but he says Tallahassee may well want to redo at least part of our congressional district ahead of next year's midterms.
I think if you look at the map now, probably north of I-4, I think is a pretty sound map. I don't think that there's really any basis. I think as you get into central, but particularly southeast Florida, there starts to become questions. You can draw a line in this part of the town or that part of, at some point you got to make decisions. And I think those decisions should be informed by the population changes.
The governor's criticisms come even though he drew the maps now in place after vetoing the maps drawn by state lawmakers. Here's what DeSantis said when asked tonight about whether new boundaries might violate the Voting Rights Act.
You have a right to vote if you're eligible, and that shouldn't be encumbered. That, to me, is what voting rights are. It's not to try to do these like somersaults on a congressional map to try to engineer, something based on characteristics that I don't think really speak to people's, character or ideas.
On social media tonight, the Florida Democratic Party calls the redistricting effort a, quote, unethical power grab. Party Chair Nikki Fried says DeSantis' plan would be, quote, speculative, corrupt, and a complete waste of taxpayer dollars.
Well, tonight is absolutely one of the most clicked on stories on clickorlando.com. A fight between a husband and wife leads to a wild ride. Let me show you. That's the husband right there on the hood of the car. His wife behind the wheel. Police say the incident started at the Wawa in Cocoa, ended on Highway 520. Police say the wife ran over her husband. Your Brevard County community correspondent James Sparvero has the story caught on camera.
Hanging on for dear life. This is the man Cocoa police say was run over by his own wife who's driving that car. And before that happened, as she was in traffic, Stephanie Blake, the owner of Renewed Cleaning Services, she recorded them passing her. When did you realize, Stephanie, something completely out of the ordinary was happening?
I happened to look in the rearview mirror and saw a white car with a man on the hood coming right up behind me at a very uncomfortable speed. And at that point, panic set in.
And police say this man actually fell off the hooded points, but was able to get back on. Did you see that yourself?
I did. She actually slammed into the car that was in front of me. And then when she reversed, he jumped back on the hood.
The wife behind the wheel is now here at the county jail, facing a judge on an attempted murder charge.
I have no contact with the alleged victim.
While her husband is in the hospital, suffering from head injuries. A new report reads, Rojas Jimenez told police she was afraid of her husband, but she was never actually in danger. The police told me the fight between the couple was about her getting a job. Judge David Silverman assigned Rojas Jimenez a $180,000 bond, and under the conditions, she's also not allowed to go to any medical facility where her husband is being treated. In Brevard County, I'm your community correspondent, James Sparvero, News 6.
Well, it doesn't take a tropical storm for parts of Orange County to flood. Neighbors say every time it rains, some streets flood, especially in parts of Pine Hills. Orange County officials say often trash and yard debris are blocking storm drains. That's why they've been asking for your help to keep the drains clear. Pine Hills community correspondent Jarrell Baker followed a crew today to see the cleanup work in action.
Do you see a lot of flooding in your neighborhood whenever the rain pours? All the trash, yard waste, and other debris in your neighborhood are clogging storm drains, according to Orange County officials.
We could go and look and the pipes are clean, but however, we have a lot of trash and debris that's blocking it from flowing.
Crew set up this demonstration on Bonnie Brook Boulevard to show us how they clear out storm drains across the county.
Removing the loose material that's in the inlet, and then we put our inlet top back on.
Foreman Sharon McCarty with Orange County Public Works says that they can find 25 to 50 pounds of debris in pretty much any drain. But she says that Pine Hills is one of the worst areas for yard waste and gutters.
We're in the process of cleaning every curb line in the Pine Hills area as we speak because of the overgrown vegetation inside the curb line that's stopping our water from flowing.
Candy Washington, who's organized several community cleanups with the Pine Hills Community Council, says that yard clippings aren't the only problem.
We've seen car mufflers like almost in the storm drains. We had to pull out.
Several crews check drains weekly across the county, especially during hurricane season. Even still, McCarty says those drains fill up quickly.
That trash can build up in a matter of seconds and not only minutes, because when it rains, you got water coming from everywhere. So you got debris coming from one street that is not on this street, but it's flowing through the drainage system coming to this street.
McCarty and Washington say they need people living here to do their part. Don't leave yard debris or trash near stormwater inlets.
If we're not the first partakers of caring for our communities, then who else will?
If you see trash blocking a drain, call the county's 311 hotline. In Orange County, Jarrell Baker, News 6.
While Hurricane Erin is turning away from the coast, it's a sign we are nearing the peak of hurricane season.
But that's not the only force of nature worth watching. Ahead on News 6 at 10, a monster fire burning in the Everglades. How this quickly jumped to an area almost as big as Walt Disney World.
So what do? You know, we're stuck in a situation that we can't do anything about.
So that woman learned the hard way why her unit is not selling. I went and met her in person. What you need to know about a condo blacklist. Next. You're watching News 6 at 10. We are live on a Wednesday night covering Weirsdale, Windermere, and all of Central Florida.
Now on News 6, imagine putting your home up for sale, but it can't sell. Turns out homes are unknowingly being blacklisted, and there's nothing homeowners can do about it.
So a woman reached out to us in our neighborhood network when she tried to sell her condo. What I found is an issue sellers say is leaving them trapped.
Just a second bedroom. As you can see, it's pretty good size. You could use it as a master.
As Susan Bosher shows me around her condo, there's something missing, and it's not just the furniture.
Yeah, I miss her. She used to call me almost every day.
Susan and her friend Dolores split this charming little condo in the Hidden Village complex in Lake Mary 13 years ago.
Her daughter, Fran, was my best friend.
But at 98, Dolores passed away, leaving this place empty.
So Susan needed to sell the condo, and pretty soon she found a buyer. But when that buyer went to get approved for a mortgage, they were denied. It turns out this complex is on Fannie Mae's blacklist.
So rejected, approved but expired.
Realtor Sheena Tapia is trying to sell Bosher's condo. She's lost 10 sales this year because a condo showed up on this list.
Hundreds of people are impacted by this, and they probably have no idea.
Probably have no idea.
To be clear, you can sell a condo on this list. It's just harder. The buyer will not qualify for veteran or first-time homebuyer loans. Only cash buyers or those with a big down payment are eligible.
88 communities in Seminole County, and when we were going through it the other day, we only had 4 that were approved for FHA lending.
This adds up to thousands of condos in Florida. Complexes can wind up on this list because of structural issues, maintenance problems, or, in the case of Hidden Village, a concern about reserve funding.
In their 2025 budget, they're saying they're going to be using some of those reserves for upcoming projects, which you can't do.
So what do? You know, we're stuck in a situation that we can't do anything about.
Okay, so we wanted to try to get her as much information as we could. So I spoke to the president of Century Management, Brad Pomp, told me they don't make the budget decisions, the HOA board does. But Ginger, he assured me that he would give Susan all the information she needs to move forward, and he's hoping to work with the board to correct this. The condo board members have not responded to my voicemails. I'll let you know if they do. So part of the issue, I was told, is it's really hard to find that list of condos. In fact, when I Googled it, it said it was mysterious and you can't find it. Well, I was able to track it down. I put the link in this article on the homepage of clickorlando.com, so you can go in there and type in your condo's information and see what its status is. Maybe most likely your condo is on the list because most of them are.
Yeah, at bare minimum, just knowing why it may not be selling is probably
something important.
New at 11 tonight. If you thought brush fires were done for the year, think again. We want you to take a look at this huge fire burning in the Everglades. It formed this afternoon when two smaller fires merged.
So this is video of one of those fires from earlier today, not long before that happened. At last check, it had burned more than 19,000 acres. That's up from 3,000 acres just this morning.
Yeah, and it's so remote, there's not much that can be done about it. Dense smoke warnings are up across South Florida, though.
All right, let's check in with meteorologist Jonathan Kegas joining us now. Hard to imagine that situation because we've received a decent amount of rain. Pretty clear on the radar tonight.
Absolutely, yeah. Nice and quiet now. They're actually still in a pretty big drought down in South Florida, so that's one of the reasons why that can still happen for sure. Right now, nice and quiet. We could use some rain as well. The latest drought monitor comes out tomorrow. We've still been hanging on to a little drought for us along the Space Coast across parts of Brevard County, so I'm anxious to see if that has changed any when the official report comes out. Rest of the evening looking pretty good. Tomorrow to start your day, we are dry. That's 6, 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. You can stay up to date with the forecast and get lightning detection, track those storms to your location. Download that free News 6 weather app. It's a great tool. You can also track the tropics, get all the models on there if you like to do that stuff. There's 1 to 2 o'clock on your Thursday afternoon. Scattered thunderstorms trying to erupt along I-75 and then push on over from west to east. A little bit of a different setup as we get into tomorrow. We're at 78 in Daytona right now. Titusville, good evening. We are back to 82 degrees, 83 in Claremont, back to 81 in Wildwood. Tomorrow afternoon, we're back to the low to mid 90s, 95 in Kissimmee. Good evening in Palm Bay. We're at 96 tomorrow. Denellen, we're at 93. Same for us just up the road in Ocala at 93 degrees. Rain chances tomorrow at 60%. Okay, so hear me out. It's still going to be hot for a long time. We know this, but we have officially turned the corner and the hottest stretch of the year is over, climatologically speaking. 92 degrees is our highest average high temperature that the Orlando International Airport sees every single year. Today was the last day of that. Tomorrow, our average high temperature drops to 91 degrees. Have to start somewhere, and that somewhere starts tomorrow. There we go. Clouds and rain forecast getting into the end of the work week, start of the weekend. Rain chance is going to start to tick up. You'll notice that on the 7-day forecast. And you see we have this little trough here. That's that dashed line draped across the deep south. And that's going to act as a focal point, closing out the work week. And then getting into Saturday especially, you see the darker yellows sliding on through. Watching that closely. Going to have to do a little bit of dodging for race day on Saturday. Coke Zero Sugar 400, of course. 7:30 start in Daytona. High opportunity for some more tropical development with this wave right here. You see the orientation of it, though. Development in this zone closer to Bermuda. It is staying far away from Florida. No worries there. Another wave way out into the eastern Atlantic. That has a medium shot for development. Looking healthy tonight. It will only be a short-lived system if it does pull itself together in the short term. Conditions are not very conducive in that part of the world to supporting any kind of tropical development, so good news all around. 60% shot for storms on Friday. That goes up a little bit on Saturday and into Sunday. Not a total loss by any means, just a higher shot to get wet. Temperatures back to the mid-90s over the next 7 days, guys.
Advisories on Tropical Storm Erin.
A brand new emergency alert channel broadcasting from right here 24/7. And the executive director tells me there's nothing else like it in Central Florida, maybe even in the United States. How you can get in on this coming up.
This disturbance,
Any alert, anytime,
some development is possible,
is now going out as quickly as it comes in.
From the Florida Division of Emergency Management.
Around the clock from WUCF, the public media station in Central Florida.
On 89.9 WUCF Jazz.
Known for its jazz, but also affiliated with PBS and NPR. To my knowledge, Jen, there is nothing like this in Central Florida.
There is nothing like this in the country right now. It is investment from the Florida Department of Emergency Management, helped develop this technology with public media stations.
Jen Cook is the executive director of WUCF. She says Beacon, Broadcast Emergency Alerts and Communications Operations Network, is similar to this.
A chance of showers.
A weather radio, but different.
Emergency managers put in everything. It can be a rabies alert. It can be a road closure. This is different yet similar. So it is running on the broadcast technology that will not go down in the event of a storm.
Cook says Beacon takes the alerts directly from the emergency managers in our counties and in Tallahassee, prioritizes the most important ones to play the most, and then uses an AI voice to broadcast them.
Officials are urging communities to try and reduce...
We've been telling you public media across the country has lost its federal funding after President Trump and Congress took away the taxpayer dollars.
Head indoors immediately.
At WUCF, that's $2 million from Washington and another $370,000 from Tallahassee. But Jen Cook says...
It's important to know your zone.
This is not a response to that.
Beacon has actually been something we've been working on for years. Beacon itself has been in development 5+ years, probably longer. At the end of the day, we are here to serve our community. How we do that is based on community funding, wherever that comes from. Government, private industry, donors. Right now, we need more of the community to step up to help pay for these public services. But it's just one of the many things that we do that people on the surface don't necessarily see.
This is the tropical weather outlook from the National Weather Service.
You can get Beacon in your car or in your house as long as you have a digital radio. Go to 89.9 and select the HD3 channel. Of course, you can also stream Beacon using their app, or just go to WUCF's website. They have the live stream up there 24/7. Don't worry, we'll put all of this information for you inside this story on clickorlando.com. I'm your UCF community correspondent, Eric Von Anken, News 6.
Find all of tonight's stories plus breaking news on News 6 Plus.
It's free to download to your smart TV or your streaming device. Have yourself a great night.